The importance of understanding your family is so that you can understand what generational curses that you need to break. You will understand a lot of traits and patterns that you have picked up without even paying attention. You will be able to understand the maturity level of your family, how to pray for them, what boundaries to establish, okay? And the only way that you can do this accurately is to connect with God, because you need to understand what conversations you need to have, how you need to word them, and when you need to be quiet. You need to understand who you need to separate from and who you need to gather with. You cannot just do things on your perception of good, because the true definition of good only comes from God. And so it may seem like a good idea to talk to somebody about their sin or pray with them in person about their sin, but only God knows that they're not receptive to it. And so they might lash out on you, or they might even try to fight you, or just inflicts more trauma onto you. And so you just have to understand what is best. And then it also might seem like somebody who is so hopeless, or who may have been so abusive to you, that you want to give up on them and stay away from them. And God may be calling you to them deeper, because we are called to be a reflection of God, and we're called to constantly forgive. And so to exercise the fruits of the Spirit, which is in the book of Galatians chapter 5 verses 22 and 23, and 1 Corinthians, you can learn about love chapter 13 verses 4 through 8. You need to embody those things to really understand how to handle people, because it's the reason why God says that everyone is not going to do what we want them to do when we want them to do it. They're not called to do that. People are a reflection of their experiences and their understanding, and a lot of people have not had personal relationships with God. They don't understand the power of God. They have not consumed the whole Bible, so they're not living obeying God. And so you have to be the one to do it. The world says that they're sick of being a bigger person, and that's really being a reflection of the devil, to be anything opposite of being the bigger person. And so you have to understand that the majority of your family, the majority of the world was not taught right, that they did not have healthy examples, that they have not healed, that they don't even know how to heal, that they have a lot of unresolved trauma, and that they are a product of their environment and their circumstances, their own understanding and their choices. They are a product of the people who they were raised around. And it's time for you to be a different example. And everything that you break off of you, you're breaking it off of your family. And so this is why it's so important too, because God will also mature you so that you can describe your family better. Because so many people have so much unlikely things to say about their family just because their family isn't a certain type of mature or a certain type of established. But this again is from our worldly understanding and demonic perspectives, because you need to start talking to God about everybody in your family that you can remember, and watch what God tells you about them. You need to do this every day, because you can't address everyone in one day. This is another part of the fruits of the Spirit. You also need to learn grace and mercy. You need to learn self-control. You cannot let them make you angry. You cannot let them make you depressed. And really, they're not making you do anything. You're allowing yourself to manifest those behaviors. That is, again, the fruits of the Spirit. And so you need to understand your family from a different perspective. I did this. I asked God about every single experience that I have ever had in my life, every single person I could ever remember. Asked God what was the purpose of it, why did God let it happen, and all the other different type of things. And I started to describe everyone and everything totally different, and it's nothing that people can say and do or not say and not do that could cause me to describe them in an ungodly way, because I have just embodied godly characteristics, as we are called to be a reflection of God. And so this has caused me to be free of anxiety. This has caused me to be consistently free of depression. This has caused me to be free of a lot of things that are unlikely. I used to be very judgmental. I used to be very angry. I used to be very impatient. I used to be very arrogant. I used to be a lot of different things that were not good. And so because I took the time to understand my family and recognize how these traits are in my family, I used to be very sarcastic. That is a trait that a lot of people in my family did reflect to me. And they were also very arrogant and like spoke down on people who didn't have certain things and stuff like that. And a lot of people in my family were very promiscuous, were cheated on, were abused, did not graduate from school, were not entrepreneurs. And so these are all the things that I was called to break. A lot of them went to church, but they did not really take God seriously. A lot of them did drugs and sold drugs and got drunk a whole lot and smoked a various amount of things, and they called their children out of their name and a lot of different things that God did not want me to be and do and have and experience. So I had to pay attention, like these are the patterns that are in my family, and it's way more serious because everything is spiritual. People say that the spiritual realm is different than the physical realm. It's not. The physical realm is a part of the spiritual realm. There's just way more that you can see that you don't have access to see unless you have a certain relationship with God, because even in the physical realm you will see different with your understanding with God, and so you will only see your family and understand the power of you being born into that family when you have a certain type of relationship with God. You're going to change their life, okay? And you're not doing this for them to don't expect them to treat you a certain way. You're going to have people who love it. You're going to have people who don't care. You're going to have people who may treat you worse. It's just depending on what's going on. But you have to not let it get you discouraged, and you have to understand that this is a reflection of being unhealed. They are the opposite of a reflection of God. That's what they're manifesting. And so you cannot expect to be understood, to be loved, to be cared for, to be supported when those are godly traits, if that person is not doing what it takes to embody reflections of God. And it's really just that simple. You don't let yourself keep getting bent out of shape because you have certain conversations with them and because they're starting to change, but they're not consistent, because you have to realize that every time you judge them, you're being a reflection of them as well, because you're doing what they're doing. You're not doing what God is doing. God calls you to pray for the people who hurt you and curse you and things of that nature. So I love you, and most importantly, God does too. I'm a spiritual advisor, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see more information about how I help people in the description area, which is underneath the video. And if you're watching this on other social media platforms, you can see it in the caption. Also in the description area, which is underneath my YouTube video, you can see the link to all of my social media accounts and a few playlist recommendations from me. The playlists are simply my videos categorized in certain subjects, because I have over 1,000 videos, so that you don't have to just scroll through all of my videos. And so it's best to go to my YouTube channel directly, because I have way more playlists than the ones that fit in the description area. And if you are watching this on other social media networks, then all you have to do is just go to my bio, and my information will be there for my YouTube and my other social media accounts. If you do not see it in my bio, or you don't know how to find my bio, all you have to do is just comment or message me, and I will send you the information. You can also comment or message me that you would like me to pray with you, because I already prayed for you, and one or two things will happen. You will either be led to get on my prayer calls, or you will be led to pray with me one-on-one, because it's God urging you to team up with people and for you to step up and do more work on your behalf. And then you can also comment or message me that you would like me to make a video on a certain topic. I will take it to God to see if that is something that God wants me to address. And you take it to God as well, so that you do not become dependent on me, and so that you do not become delayed on any more information, because God is speaking 24/7. And so every moment that you are not hearing from God is information that you're missing out on, and you're blocking your blessings, and you're hindering yourself from going to the next level. Thank you for listening, liking, commenting, sharing, watching, subscribing, and following. Thank you for praying for me, and thank you for pouring into my ministry monetarily.